All right, we are on the second video for section 13.3 and we're talking about mortgage loans. On this example, we're going to compare two loans. So we're going to compare a 15-year loan and a 30-year loan. They're both going to have the same percentage rate, right? And APR is the annual percentage rate for the loans. And so we have to put both of these into our calculator. Now, we can take some shortcuts. The 15-year loan, remember, it's always going to be monthly. So 15 times 12 equals, and the interest rate 5.75 divided by 12. Don't forget your equal sign. Present value will be 110,000. All right, so these two numbers will be the same for the second loan, and future value is 0 on both. So for the second loan, you have to only enter in two different things, right? It will be 30 times 12 on n, the number of periods, and then of course the payment you're computing. Oh, so you only have to enter one thing to compute the payment on the second loan. So on the first loan, the 15-year loan, we're going to compute the payment, and we are then going to revise just a little bit and compute the payment on the 30-year loan. So I'm just going to go ahead and do both of those. Okay, so on the first loan, press compute payment, and that will be $913.45 per month, right? That's your mortgage payment. And then the second loan, enter in your 30 times 12 equals, that ends up being 360 payments, but you don't have to change your interest rate, your present value, or future value because they will be the same as the previous loan. Then we're going to compute the payment for the second loan. Let's see if I can make that a little bit bigger. And when you compute this payment, you find that your monthly payment is $641.93. So it's quite a bit less than the 15-year loan, but you are paying that payment for 30 years. So, you know, you can kind of look at those numbers and think about how you would compare those, which we are actually going to do because we want to look at how much interest was paid for each loan. Now, if you haven't looked at these kind of things before, it might be kind of eye-opening. Like, whoa, that is a lot of money. Okay, so for a 15-year loan, 15 times 12 is 180, so that's 180 payments, and 30 times 12 is 360, so that one was 360 payments. So for the 15-year loan, we take the 180 times the payment amount of $913.45, and then that will be $164,421, right? And then I'm going to subtract the amount of the loan. Remember, whoops, that was 110,000. I'm thinking zeros and started writing them. Okay, so multiply the payment amount by the number of payments, and then subtract that, right? Take that number and subtract the amount you borrowed, and your interest amount then for this loan is $54,421. And it was 0 cents. So I'll go ahead and write that one kind of in the proper way. On the next loan, we'll take 360 times our payment of $641.93. And so that leaves us with the amount of $231,094.80. So you can see it's quite a bit more than the previous loan, and on either one of them it's quite a bit. So when we subtract, we find that the amount of interest is $121,094.80. So we have found the interest for each loan. And then we're going to compare the two. Okay? So for the 30-year loan, the interest was $121,94.80, and the 15-year loan was $54,421 exactly. We are subtracting, so to compare, we're going to subtract the smaller amount of interest from the larger, and we find that it's $66,673.80. That's the difference between the two. And so you could say that the 30-year loan 30-year loan was, I'll just write it down here, the 30-year loan cost $66,673.80 more. That's a lot, you guys. Than the 15-year loan. Now, there are different scenarios where you pay extra per month, and you can lower the number of years you pay, which also lowers your interest, and that is something that you might want to look into if you did have a 30-year loan. And we're going to actually look at that here. Using the 30-year loan, remember the payment was excuse me, $641.93, and so we're going to pay this much more on this mortgage, and then we're going to check and see how long does it take us to pay this loan off if we increase our payment by $158.07. And I think it's just an interesting thing to look at. If you still have the loan in, then you actually can use the same numbers for part of this. Not the payment amount, but the principal, the interest, the future value. So you could use those arrows. I'm going to go ahead and write it out. And we're paying in $800 per month. Oh, I didn't put my zeros on there. Anyway, so we are computing in the number of periods. How long will it take us to pay off this loan? And that number is $224.98. And then we divide that, remember, by 12 because we're paying 12 payments per year. And it ends up that it takes 18.75 years to pay off the loan. So we are paying it off 11 years and 3 months early, or earlier, we'll say. Okay. So I think that's pretty significant, and it's something to think about if you have a mortgage or someday you get a mortgage. Now, if we compare interest again, on the loan that we just did, it was about $225. Remember, it was $224.98, so we'll just say 225 payments times $800. So that's $180,000 total for the loan. We're going to subtract our principal amount. So this loan cost $70,000 for interest, right? So our 18.75 year loan is going to save us how much money here? All right, we're going to subtract the $70,000. And so we're going to save this much, $51,094.80 by paying the loan off. Oops. In 11 years. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm thinking that there's some other things I would like to do with $51,000. I'm pretty sure you could come up with something also. Okay, so here's the next loan we're going to look at. Several years ago, you got a mortgage loan at 6.38% interest. Now, these kind of interest rates come up every once in a while. To put this on your calculator, you need to take 3 divided by 8 plus 6 divided by 12, right? That's how you're going to enter it on this, on I. You need to put it that way to get that in right. I'm going to just say 6 3/8 divided by 12, but you must enter it the way I showed you up here. So basically you take the fraction, convert it to a decimal, add the whole number part, and then divide by 12. Don't forget your equal sign before you enter that. Okay. All right, you currently owe $155,036.03, so that is going to be our present value. Now that was how much, that's how much the loan is worth now. And then our payment amount is $1,154.16. Future value, we want it to be a 0. So we're going to compute in, right? And that number ends up being 236 payments. If you divide that by 12, then you get about 19.67 years for that loan. And then one last question. All right, that's all we're going to do for that one. It's just saying how long until the loan is paid off when you're already into the loan a ways. Now this is kind of a special kind of problem, and you need to pay attention to this because you're going to see it again as you work through problems on the quizzes. If you purchase a drone for $850 and the store finances the entire amount over 24 months at a monthly rate of 1.85%, what is your monthly payment? What happens here is we don't have to do the multiplication or the division, okay? So we already know the number of periods is 24. We already know the periodic rate, right? How much we're paying per month is 1.85%, right? We're borrowing $850. Our future value will be 0 because we're going to pay off the loan. So we're going to compute our payment. Now you guys, you just have to be careful and read directions on this so that you're not multiplying the number of months or dividing your interest rate because they're already monthly, right? They're already telling you the number of months and the monthly rate. So the payment for this drone would be $44.18. That would be your monthly payment, and that's 2 years, right? 24 months would be 2 years, so you would be paying on it for those 2 years. All right, that's the end of section 13.3.